Hello everybody and welcome to part 2 of Let's Play Final Fantasy. After going through the tutorial last time, let's jump right into the adventure and see what's going on. Start by heading into town here, talk to some townsfolk, see what's going on. Well, apparently this is Canaria, the Dream City. See what's going on here. What do you want? Apparently she's Garland, the dancer. Who are you? Warriors, revive the power of the orbs. Don't know how you know who I am, but let's head into the weapon shop first and see what's going on. All our characters start off with no equipment, like I said last time. So we're going to take a look and see what we can get. You don't want to get into any battles before you prepare yourself here. Now, we've got 400 gold to spend. As you can see, the first town is pretty nice to us with regards to how much items cost. So, we are going to buy a rapier for the warrior, or the fighter, excuse me. If you have a thief, you're also going to be getting a rapier for him. For our monk, we are getting wooden nunchucks. We're going to get an iron hammer for the white mage, who, despite later games, the white mage actually has a fairly respectable attack power in this part of the game. And then for our black mage, we are going to get a small dagger. That's all we got for here. As a general rule of thumb, just to let you know, the weapons that don't have any icons next to them, like the rapier, has no icon. You see the nunchuck, the dagger, the staff, and the hammer icons there. The weapons that don't have the icons are generally weapons designed with the thief in mind. However, as the rapier is the first sword, we're also going to be picking that up for our fighter. And we'll take a look at armor here. This is going to be an important thing. We want the best we can get for our fighter, which will be the chainmail. Now, that is all I'm going to be getting. Because, here's the thing. Armor has weight in this game. So, if I equip, say, what's going on? Save the princess? What's wrong with the princess? If I equip armor on the white mage, the black mage, in this case, even the black belt, that'll increase their defense only by a point or two, and I'll lower their evasion percentage by 3 or 4%. So I will gain a very small amount of defense and tank their evasion rate. So even though they take slightly less damage, they'll be getting hit far more often. So we're going to leave them without armor for now and head into the black magic shop. We are going to buy our first spell for Tella. I'm going to go over these. Fire and Lightning are your basic level 1 elemental attack spells. They target one creature and do elemental damage. Sleep attempts to put an entire group of enemies to sleep. However, the spell doesn't work quite correctly in this game. While it does target the entire group and can potentially put them all to sleep, the sleep status effect is somewhat glitched in this game. An enemy that is put to sleep will always wake up on their next turn when they would normally be given an action. So at best, the sleep spell will buy you a turn. Now, don't bother getting Lock. It's supposed to lower an enemy's evasion rate by 40%, but it's bugged and doesn't actually do anything. So don't get the Lock spell under any circumstances. Now, for this first part of the game, we're going to be focusing on damage so we can clear through enemies and get more money to get more spells. So we're going to be starting with a fire spell for Tala. And with 185 left, we're going to head over to the white magic shop. We're going to get Rose's first white magic spell here. Let's go over them. Here is your basic low-level healing spell. It restores a little bit of HP to one character. You cannot multi-target with it. Harm is a holy spell that works on undead creatures and is very helpful in several situations in the game. Now, Fog and Ruse essentially do the same thing. One will raise your absorption rate by 8, so it basically raises your defense, and the other increases your evasion rate, which means you are less likely to take damage. So they essentially do the same thing, since in one situation you'll get hit just the same, but take less damage. In the other, you'll get hit far less often and take the same amount of damage. So it pretty much ends up working itself out. For this first part, we're just going to get Cure for the white mage, and Harm is going to be the next spell we get before we get to the first dungeon, as there will be some undead enemies to fight there. Now this building with a heart on it is the clinic. That's where we're going to be going if any of our characters die. Hey, how's it going? Oh, I saved the princess, alright. And this is our item shop. Items are a little expensive in this part of the game. Heal is basically a cure spell. It'll restore about 30 hit points outside of combat. Pure restores poison. It'll heal poison. However, we're not going to encounter anything that poisons us for a little while. Intent is an item you use on the overworld. It's basically casts a low-level cure spell on everyone and saves the game. And then, of course, we have the inn, which we will see quite a bit of, is that will restore our hit points for a price, and will also restore our spell charges. Let's head on into the castle and see what's going on with the princess. Hey, the king is looking for us. I do happen to be the light warrior, so let's see what's going on. Hi. Oh, there's nothing there. Still looking for us. Hey, what's up? Garland has kidnapped the princess. Please help her. Well, can't ignore that. I mean, the king's asking us for a favor, right? It's always nice when a king owes you a debt. So let's head out and see what's going on. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is show off a couple battles. Just so you can see the battle mechanics, see how things work. And I'm an idiot because I forgot to equip my weapons, so this first fight's going to be pretty fun. Can't believe I did that. I'm too used to playing some of these newfangled games here. Well, at least it'll give me a chance to showcase some magic here. Thankfully, even without weapons equipped, the fighter is still going to put out enough damage to take care of these guys. And fire is more than enough to take down these imps. Now you're going to want to spread your attacks among the enemies, because in this original version, as well as Final Fantasy II for the NES, if you have, say, two characters target a single enemy, and the first character kills them, the rest of the characters will attack the empty space he was at, and the attacks will be ineffective. So that's just silly. So spread your attacks so you can avoid wasting turns. Alright, let's equip all that stuff, huh? Not magic. Magic is automatically equipped, but weapons and armor are not. Get that going. Alright, slightly better. I'm gonna grind up to level 2 here real quick. I'll just show you a couple of the fights, show you how these first couple mechanics work out. We'll eventually be heading up to the northwest to our first dungeon, but we're not quite ready for that yet. Now, unlike later games, we don't need to worry about front and back rows, because the enemies in the back row can be targeted just as easily as enemies in the front row, and they have no damage reduction for being in the back row. The only thing you'll notice about this version of the game is that misses are fairly frequent. Even as you gain levels, your physical attacks will miss surprisingly often. The only good thing is that magic attacks, aside from enemy immunities, are generally going to hit 100% of the time. These imps are very basic enemies. They are, those attacks are ineffective because they're attacking empty spaces. Imps are your basic starting enemies. All they do is have weak physical attacks. They are not like, I just took a group of them on barehanded, so that's an indication of how easy they are. And since I've exhausted my black mage's spell charges, I'm going to take a second here to show you the inn. Yeah, we'll stay. It's 30 gold. A little expensive in relation to how much money we're getting, but it's well worth it. This is the most efficient way to restore your spell charges, especially at this early point in the game. I might as well walk a little up north just to show you where we're going to be going once we hit level 3. Don't want to walk around in a circle the whole time. That's not very exciting. I'll just speed this up a little bit. We've seen quite enough. I will be at I won't be filming my grinding sessions to gain levels, but I will generally be keeping battles in dungeons as well as on our way to destinations in, just to basically keep the game real and to not give a false impression of the game's difficulty. Speaking of difficulty, this is kind of interesting. These creeps are a very low encounter rate in this area, as they are far stronger than imps and any of the other creatures we should be encountering at this point. So hopefully they do not truck me here. 15 damage to my fighter. My fighter has the best armor available on right now. So he almost one-shotted him. So that's an indication of how absurd these guys are. It is extremely likely I might just lose someone during this fight. These creeps are far stronger than the imps and the other enemies I would normally encounter here. Alright, we got lucky there. We're going to gain a pretty good amount of XP. And we gain our levels. We see what our hit point max jumps up to, and we also see what stats of ours increase. Alright, now that I have gotten to level 2, I am going to head back to the inn, and then I am going to grind up to level 3 off screen, and I will join you back, and we will head to our first dungeon with our first treasures, and we will fight our first boss. I will end the video here, and hopefully I will see you for part 3 when we really start the adventure and get it going. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.